Okay, so today we're going to start Lamed Vav Amud Beis, and it's 5 lines from the bottom. That's 36b, right at the end. Today we're supposed to do 37. Okay, so thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. Learn Torah every day. It's because of our learning we should have the basic English immediately. The Mishnah says that someone takes a vow, his friend cannot have benefit from him. So we said he's allowed to still teach his friend that he's not allowed to give benefit to. He's allowed to teach him Medrash, Halach, and Agada, but he can't teach him Mikra. Can't teach him the Bible. I don't know if that means Chumash with the Nevi'im and Ksuvim or just the Chumash. I'm not sure. It's a discussion in the commentaries in Kedushin. What Mikra means. Okay, so let's take a look over here. He's allowed to teach him just the Medrash, Halach, and Agad. The Gemara right away starts, Medrash, Halach, and Agad, but he can't teach him Mikra. Mikra, my time, why can't he teach him Chumash, or Mikra, maybe Tanakh, I don't know. Why can't he teach him that? See, he's not going to charge him. So he's not allowed to give him benefit. So when he teaches him, he's teaching him for free. By teaching him for free, so he's saving him money. He would have had to pay a tutor. So that's a benefit. Let's say he does charge him. So that was a discussion before that it seemed to say that if he charges him, then that would be, you were allowed to do business with someone that you weren't allowed to have benefit, to give benefit to. You just couldn't overpay, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what the note says. He says here that if he charges him, it was okay.
It would seem to be okay. Here we're talking about where he's not charging him, but there is a going price for that. That's what it seems like. There's a going price for that. The fact that he's not charging him means that he's giving him a benefit where he's saving that money.
That's one of the questions that I have. How is paying him going to make it okay if the money is limited, and the learning is infinite. It's doesn't, at least I don't say it's comparable.
We're not talking about benefit from a mitzvah, because the mitzvahs aren't there to give us benefit. Mitzvahs are for Hashem. We're talking about the benefit that he's getting from saving the money.
Yeah, but there's no really point price for learning Torah.
No, but there is a price that he's saving. Whatever the going price is, that's the money that he's making, and that would be prohibited.
So it would be compensating for his time.
Right, exactly.
Wait till you pay tuition for your kids.
But still,
You find out. Trust me.
what you learn is priceless.
Yeah. What you learn is priceless, but that's not prohibited to receive that sort of benefit, because the only prohibition here is on the monetary gain. Otherwise, it's just a mitzvah. The mitzvah, we said, is lovely hunison though. There is a benefit from a mitzvah, but the mitzvahs aren't, that's not the main point of the mitzvahs for that benefit. Okay. So the Gemara asks, Medrash nami kamahanilai. So why isn't he saving money by this fellow teaching him Medrash for free? Wouldn't that be the same way of saving money? He teaches him Mikra, he saves money because he didn't charge him. If he teaches him Medrash, maybe he has an English Medrash. He didn't have an English Tanakh. Medrash he could have learned on his own. It's not saving any money. Tanakh, he needed a teacher for him. Maybe that could be an answer. But that the Gemara is not suggesting that. Amar Shmuel says, "B'makim shneitin schar ala mikra v'neitin schar ala medrash." Talking about a place where the custom is where they pay for mikra, they pay for a tutor for chumash, but they don't pay for a tutor for medrash. So, in order for this Mishnah to make sense, we had to create a scenario which, if we wanted, we could have created the opposite scenario, and we would have had the Mishnah say the opposite. Gemara asks, "My pascha, what determined that you should say it like this, and make up a scenario that we're talking about a place where the custom is where they charge for mikra, they don't charge for medrash, you could have said it the other way. We're talking about a place where they charge for medrash and they don't charge for mikra, and you're allowed to teach mikra, exactly the opposite. Like my pascha, what made you decide that this should be the way that it should be? Gemara says, Hakamash Malan, exactly on the top of 37. Even if it's a place where they do pay tutors, but you're only allowed to pay a tutor to teach mikra, to teach chumash. Not allowed to pay a tutor to teach medrash. Medrash has to be for free.
Medrash is like Medrash Rabbi?
Yeah, it means the darshanik, the oral Torah. The oral Torah, medrash, halacha, and agada. It says medrash, it means the whole list of the oral Torah.
Could it be because the medrash was like made like to learn with the teacher? Could it be that that's why they make it like this?
See in a second. Okay. So, I don't think they pay the young elementary school teachers better than the high school teachers. I don't think this would imply that. This would imply that the high school teachers that are teaching medrash and halacha, or the higher elementary, should not be getting paid, and the chumash teachers that are the young elementary schools should be getting paid. Gemara says, "Ma'isna medrash delay." What's the reason why medrash you can't take payment for? Basically, what we just explained now was that no, the Mishnah was very specific when it said that you're allowed to teach this fellow that has a vow that can't get benefit. You're allowed to teach him medrash and halacha and agada for free, even though you would think that maybe he's saving money, but no, he's not saving money because you anyways have to teach him for free. But mikra, where you could have charged him for that you're not allowed to teach him because then he's saving money. So Ma'isa medrash delight diksiv, it says in the pasuk, is the answer. Va'isi, it's Moshe Rabbeinu talking. Siva Hashem beisi lamed eschem. Me, Hashem commanded me at that time to teach, lalamed eschem, to teach you. Uksiv. And it says in the pasuk, "Rei limadati eschem chukim mishpatim kasher tzivani Hashem." See, I teach you the laws, the statutes, as Hashem commanded me. Okay, now, ma'ani bechinam, just as two interpretations there. Just as I studied with Hashem for free, that's one interpretation. Avatim bechinam, so also you have to teach for free. Hashem didn't charge me. I think the other pshat seems to fit better. Ma'ani bechinam, just as I taught you for free. That means Moshe Rabbeinu taught the Jewish people. Afatim nami bechinam. So when you teach the Jewish people, you also have to teach for free. What did Moshe Rabbeinu teach us? The oral Torah. Why didn't he teach us the written Torah? Well, it says chukim u'mishpatim. Chukim u'mishpatim would be referring to the oral Torah. Now, kasher tzivani, the Ran learns, means that I taught, kasher tzivani Hashem, as Hashem commanded me to teach you for free. That's the way he's learning it. You can't say that Hashem commanded me, the Ran says, to teach you for pay. Hashem would command that you have to pay Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay.
You know what this sounds like? Excuse me. It's like making a deal with a contractor to build a 7-story house. The contractor says, okay, the first floor, the foundation is $20 million. All the rest of the floors are included in the price. They're free. Because if he didn't do the first floor, the mikra, all the other stuff doesn't have anything to stand. It doesn't mean so you can't charge like the air rights if you haven't bought the bottom
Uh-huh.
floor. So the
Uh-huh.
mikvah you pay for, and everything else comes as back.
Interesting.
Not just
It's
you buy a
interesting.
house in Israel, right? They get the errands. All you have to pay for
It's the land.
the land end, and anything you want to build up on top, you can build. I asked Jay Burke, he's built like a couple floors on top of the house.
Uh-huh.
What's kicks? Oh,
Uh-huh.
Ravensburger. He's
Okay,
taking pictures.
it's an interesting shot. The
That was
Gemara
my
asks.
drush. I wasn't
Oh.
going to charge it.
Okay. The Gemara asks, Mikra Nami Bechinam. What about the Chumash? Shouldn't that be taught for free? Seems like that should be for free as well. So Rav Amar Schar Shimer, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Schar Pisuk Taimen. So Machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan here. Why it's permissible to charge for teaching Chumash? Rav says that usually Chumash is being learned by children, and children need a babysitter. So actually, the teacher is only being paid as a babysitter, just a babysitter. The Gemara on the next page is going to say that only the boys need a babysitter, the girls don't need a babysitter. But meanwhile, this is our pshat. The boys, they would run wild, and someone needs to stand there and to make sure that they don't run away or whatever. Shimer means the guard. And Rabbi Yochanan says no. Rabbi Yochanan says that the reason why you're allowed to charge is because the Chumash is not actually, the text itself, you have to teach for free. But we are to stop in the text, maybe the cantillations, the notes, those the trop, and all of that. That's not considered the oral Torah. That's the laws that needs to be taught for free. It's not considered the text that needs to be taught for free. So that is somewhere in the middle over there, and that you can charge for. It's like they charge you for the textbooks.
When they say it's a machlokes, Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, two different countries.
Right.
So
Same time,
it's
though.
Yeah. So what it's meaning is this Rav in Babel taught this way, Rabbi Yochanan in Eretz Yisrael taught this way. It's not that they themselves are arguing.
No, they didn't hear each other, unless this was done when they were both by Rebbe. I don't know if Rabbi Yochanan was ever by Rebbe, but Rabbi Yochanan had a conversation once with Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish said, "Who is this Rav?" And everyone's saying Rav. Rabbi Yochanan said, "You don't remember? By Rebbe, he was a great person. Sounds like he was there." But anyway, the Ran says, what would be the difference between Rav and Rabbi Yochanan? Well, if you teach an adult. If you teach an adult, according to Rav, you can't charge. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you can still charge. Right? The adult doesn't need a babysitter. Okay. I'm sorry, I skipped the line. Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, we said that the person that took a vow that he's not going to give benefit to his friend, we said that he can't teach him Chumash. If we say it's talking about that the payment goes for the cantillation notes, not for the actual text, that's why he's not allowed to teach him this, because he could be charging him, he's not charging him. Saving him money. But if it's for talking about that is babysitting money, he's saving him the babysitting money. Gadol bar shimer is the adult. I quoted this from the Ran, but the Gemara says it. But would he be saving the adult money because now the adult doesn't need to pay for him as a babysitter? Doesn't have to pay for a babysitter anyway. You don't babysit the adult. The Gemara says bekatan ktani, adult sitting. We're talking about it that he's a child. So this is a very interesting case. We thought that why is a person forbidding benefit from this other person as they got into like some serious fight, and he says you cannot have benefits from me. he takes an oath that all my possessions are forbidden to you. Like this vow, all my possessions. Now, talking about that the guy that he's taking this oath on, that he can't have benefit, is actually a child. This kid was like a rascal. Doesn't want to give him any benefit. So that's it. You can't have any benefits from me. Then turns out he's a teacher. This guy's a teacher. Now he can't teach the child. Can't teach the child mikra. The Gemara says, 1 second. It's not going to fit perfectly if this is the case, because he bekat name a seifa for dealing with the child. And let's read further in the Mishnah. But he's allowed to teach the person that he took the vow from his children. Now, if it's a child, katan barbanuhu, does the child have children? Can't have a child. Can't have
They have a
someone
child,
conceive.
they're no longer a child.
Right. That we learned with a girl, that a girl gives birth. But over here it would be really, I think they can, and at 9 years old, I think they can already, I don't know if it's 9 or 13, I don't remember. It's a Gemara Sanhedrin. How old a boy could be to cause conception? 9, right? but that just mean that they're old enough to have relations. But I don't know if that means that they're old enough to cause conception, because we did say that the 3-year-old, that until they're an adult, they can't become pregnant, and if they do, it's dangerous. So, how old could it be that the child could have? I'm not sure exactly. It's a Gemara. The Gemara discusses this. It's describing the generations, how old they were. How many years it took. Could this be the pshat in the Mishnah, that he took a vow that he's not going to give benefit to a child? If the Mishnah goes on and says, but he's allowed to give benefit to the son, to the children, that means it can't be a child. So the Gemara says, you could actually read this a little different. You have to add in some words. It's missing words. You read it like this. Can't teach him chumash because we're dealing with the child. But if he's an adult, then he can teach him and his children. Add in the word him. Add in the word him. When he says he can teach his children, you add in the word and him. Okay, that would be an answer. But the one that says for Rav, that says that we're talking about babysitting.
Could it be in the first one where they added the him? So it's like in the future, like once he took the old one.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that could be. That could be shot. Maybe it's the same child, but as he gets older, then he's allowed to teach him and his children. Maybe it's interesting. Meisvei, where's the question?
It's missing a lot.
What do you mean it's missing?
Yeah, like the last thing that it says here is like for a while, like Kevin just doesn't, because I don't find it here. And then here it jumps to the part of Shabbos.
Oh, let me see if you have a different text, or if you have.
No, I feel like I don't have a lot of this stuff here.
I just elaborated. It's in there in the Hebrew at least. I was afraid I was making stuff up.
No.
Okay.
I'll give you intense Hebrew lessons. I won't charge you.
Please, I need them.
Just charge you for English translation.
So paid. I really need it.
Okay. So, Meisvei, is that what's going on over here? What is the charging? What about for the translation of the text? Is that?
It's like the Italian Yiddish, the Italian Hebrew. I mean,
Did they have to teach in the days of Moshe Rabbeinu? Did they have to translate the text? I assume not. I assume that it was written. The text of the Torah was exactly the way they spoke, at least back then. It wouldn't have been written in a text that wasn't spoken then.
But it wasn't the text that
Yeah, that's
So
what Gemara
maybe
says. The letters were different.
So maybe they didn't know how to do that. So they have to read the letters to them so that they would understand.
Huh. Okay. Gemara now is a question. Tinaikus leikairin betchila b'Shabbos el sheinin berishin. Instead of Ella, it's probably Aval. What is this? Aval sheinin berishin. Yeah, Ella is the Aramaic word. In the Brisa it would be Aval. It's the same word. It's just that's a. So on Shabbos, the Brisa says that children, you don't learn anything new with them, but you can do chazara, you can do review. Well, I can understand why you're not allowed to teach something new according to the opinion that says that you're teaching them where to stop or the cantillation notes. That's why you're not allowed to teach it on Shabbos, because what you're teaching on Shabbos is actually what you're getting paid for. If you're teaching something new, then you would be making money on Shabbos, working on Shabbos. Schar Shabbos. But if it has to do with just babysitting, so why can't you read at the beginning of Shabbos? But why are you allowed to do chazara? Babysitting is babysitting. Doesn't matter if it's the first time they're learning it or the second time they're learning it. Chazara, the fifth time, it's all the same babysitting. So why are you telling me that this you can do and that you can't do? So it's a riot to Rabbi Yochanan that obviously the payment is going for the learning it the first time. That's where the payment goes. Umar says, but according to this question, according to you, schar pisuk b'Shabbos miyaser, is it prohibited to take payment for teaching new material on Shabbos? Is this going to be aser? Havlahi. Havla, the term havla means that it's swallowed. And the way you do is, how do you pay a rabbi or a balkaira or anyone that does these things on Shabbos? So you pay them for the work during the week, the preparation time. You pay them for something, or let's say you have someone that cleans. They come in every day of the week, and they come in on Shabbos. So you don't pay them by the day; you pay them by the week. And then Shabbos is included into. See, as long as there's two issues on Shabbos. One is you're not allowed to do malach, you're not allowed to do things that are prohibited. But the rabbi and the cleaner, it's, throwing away the garbage. They're not lahavdil. They're not doing malacha. They're not doing malacha. They're just getting paid for something that they're doing on Shabbos. So what's the problem? It looks like mekach memka. It looks like you're doing business. Business on Shabbos is prohibited because of writing. It's all like an offshoot. So we take away that problem by just doing it. It's not really a business on Shabbos. It's really just getting paid for one big lump sum, and that takes away that issue.
Isn't like deriving benefit they prohibited? And I think Gemara says like even the slaves used to rest on Shabbos.
Yeah, if you have a slave, then he has to keep Shabbos. But we're not telling. First of all, we're not telling the non-Jew or whatever to do malacha. We're telling him to throw away the cups and plates and to sweep the floor, which is not a malacha. I'm allowed to do that, right? So he's doing it because I want to take a nap. It's not a malacha. It's just it's hired help. So, but how are you allowed to pay him? That's the question. So we say that payment in Shabbos, you're not supposed to do buying and selling or transactions. So we say, no, that's really one big lump transaction that goes for the whole week. It's called havla. So
it's free.
Right,
you
Shabbos is
6
free.
days and then
It's interesting that you can get away with that. We can get away with that, but saying MSG for speaking divrei chol on Shabbos, you can't.
Wait, what NSG?
You say Shabbos correct. If someone said, I'm not really talking on Shabbos, but we sold the car already. I'm just saying it's interesting that the dibur itself is unquestionably usur,
Right.
but
you can do havla. You do havla because the payment, you're not doing the payment on Shabbos, you're doing the payment on Sunday. But it's covering his Shabbos work, but that's absorbed in the whole week. So it's not significant that it's It's a payment for
So if
Shabbos.
the guy sells the car on Shabbos and talking, but doesn't pay till Sunday?
You're
that's
talking about if
wrong?
they sell the car on Shabbos.
Well, they
and
didn't
he
sell
doesn't-
it. They said,
He
you
doesn't
know,
talk about it. He just pays on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So then you still have the problem of the transaction. How did they do the transaction? What did he do? He handed them the keys.
on Sunday.
Oh, so then maybe there's nothing there. It was just eye contact.
It was in Mr. Shabbos.
He winked. Okay. So the Havla Mishra Shari, Havla is permissible. The Tanya, we have a Havla means it's swallowed up, the payment is swallowed up. Taught in a brisa. The someone hires a worker to watch his child. Now, what we're talking about over here is actually these are the children that were raised to prepare the paraduma. They were actually raised in a special place. They lived on top of these caps. These stones, they should never become tummy. So, and someone hired another worker, Lishmar Sapara, to watch the paraduma. This is all preparation for the red heifer. Okay. Lishmar Sazraim, or maybe he hired someone to watch the grain that was being grown for the Omer. You're hiring these people. Ain't nice and like Shabbos. You're not allowed to pay them for Shabbos. And therefore, if something happens on Shabbos, then Einachai Bachrisan is considered a Shemer Chinam. He's watching, he's an unpaid watchman. So he has less of a responsibility. Shabbos, Shavua, nice Shabbos. But let's say he was hired for the week, or hired for the month, or hired for the year, or hired for the 7 years. That's a big contract. Then he could pay him for Shabbos the Havla, like we said, is swallowed up into the big lump sum. And therefore, he's considered responsible for Shabbos as well. He's considered a Shemer Sachar. He would be responsible. Proof that you can do Havla, and so therefore you can pay the teacher to teach on Shabbos as well, because you paid him for the whole week, and you pay him a paycheck, for the whole week.
Rabbi, in the corporations I worked for, I forget the term, maybe Naftali know in English. There were two types of employees. There were those of us who got salary. Salary, the not salary is like, this was your salary for everything. If you have to work extra hours, you don't get paid overtime. And then there was the non-salary who got paid hourly. And if they went beyond their 8-hour shift,
Right.
they got time there. So it's kind of similar concept.
Right.
That's where they go.
There's always an economic reason why they're doing that, because they give the guy that has to work extra the higher salary, but they tell him, but it's not a salary, it's not a hourly.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to.
So Elagabi Shabbos the time of the Inkarim B'Tchilo. So we need a new reason here. So why on Shabbos? Are you not allowed to teach something new? The children not learn the new material on Shabbos? Why do they only do review? That's the reason must be Mishum the Yifnun Avasan the Yenuke Lemitzah the Shabbata. We want the fathers of the children to be free for the mitzvahs of Shabbos. And if the fathers would have to be there, I don't know why it says the fathers. Teachers, want the teachers to be free. Maybe if the fathers that would teach the children, if the fathers that would teach the children would have to teach them new material on Shabbos, then they wouldn't be free to do the other mitzvahs of Shabbos, which is eating and relaxing, and that's it would be too hard. This is like difficult to learn. Another answer could be Mishum the Shabbat Achlan b'Shasen b'Yakar Alei Alma. On Shabbos, they eat and they drink and they get heavy. The Shmuel says that a change in habit is the beginning of a stomach pains, which means that because they eat differently, eat at the Kiddush, and they go home and eat again. And that's after the Kiddush club, right? All of that. And then there's mezainis before davening, cheesecake. So it's hard for them to learn. They're dealing with the stomach pain. Okay. So therefore, they can only do review. Apparently, review is easier than learning new material. It is easier. The only problem is to get the students to do review today. It takes huge effort. All my students, they tell me that we did it already.
Say, okay, here's the test.
No, I say, okay, recite it. They say, oh, not by heart. Okay.
So then here it puts the total on the teacher.
Yeah, how to get them to do review. Yeah, but I guess the reason why review was easier is that they had to perform. When you would get an aliyah back then, you had to read it. So they needed to know it. They would do the review on their own. They just needed to, they would get called up, read the Torah. You were reading the Torah. You had to know it by heart. Yeah. Okay. According to the one that says, that we're asking a question. Why does Rabbi Yochanan not say like Rav? How come Rabbi Yochanan? He could have said that it's babysitting money, right? That usually you teach the children this. He says, Kasavar, Banais Mika Bain Shimer. This is not the version of the Ran. The Ran's version is Gadol Mi Ba Yishimar, which that would fit better with the Gemara before. It says, does an adult? From the Mishnah, it sounded like that it was referring to everyone, that you can't teach a mikra because you would be saving him money. And one of the people that's referring to is an adult. That's how the Ran learned. The girsa that we have is it could have been that it was a girl. Does a girl need babysitting? No, girls don't need babysitting. It's only the boys that are misbehaving and running away and all of that. Girls are fine. Okay. And according to the one that says, the Rav, that says that it's because of babysitting money. So why doesn't he say like Rabbi Yochanan that you can get paid for pisuk taimim? He says kasavar schar pisuk taimim deraisi, not schar pisuk. It's supposed to be pisuk taimim deraisi. He says you can't get paid for that either. He holds that the cancellations are actually biblical. That's part of the text. And just like you can't get paid for teaching the Torah, you also can't get paid for teaching the cancellations. So it's machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. What comes out is the trup. How basic is that to the Torah? If pisuk taimim means trup.
The translation, you're okay.
According to Dr. Stein, you can charge for the translation. Okay.
Except for if it's an error, because then it's part of Stein.
The Amar Rab Ika Barav and Amar Rab Chananel Amar Rav. Rab Ika Barav and says name of Chananel, name of Rav. Maidik Siv. What's the meaning of the pasuk in Nehemiah? Yikra b'sefer Teres Elikim b'farish v'shum seichel v'yavinu b'mikra. This is when Ezra gathers the people in Israel and he reads to them the Torah. You saw that the people there were not knowledgeable. The people that were left in Israel. Now the exile has returned from Babylonia, or whatever amount, 42,360 came back. He gathers everyone together and he reads to them the Torah. Mefurash means explained. Shum Seichel, he gives understanding. Ve'avino, and other understanding by Mikra.
Is that the Torah still with the
No.
other one that we
Yeah,
this week? Is that's
Well, here, I don't know, but here he's teaching Torah in public. And when you look at this pasuk, so the Gemara explains, or at least Rav explained, as said over by Ravika Barav and Amar Kananel, the Yikra b'Sefer Torah Selikim, he read in the Torah of Hashem, Zemikra, he read the text. Befurash, explanation, is a Targum, that's the Aramaic translation, which was forgotten after this and was remembered by Onkelos, was brought back by Onkelos. Onkelos brought it back as a student of Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua. That's the Gemara Megillah. B'Shum Seichel, he gives also understanding. Elu Apsukim. These are where to stop. The Avinu B'Mikra is a pisuk taimim. and he gives understanding to the text. This is the cantillations. Cantillations tell you the meaning of how to join words together, not just where the end of the pasuk. This is describing what Ezra was doing when he read the Torah.
We got the tradition that Moshe Rabbeinu separated the script into words and paragraphs.
And he taught it.
Saying Ezra doesn't need to teach it.
No, he does need to teach him because they were all ignorant. So
It
yes,
was already done.
yeah,
Done by Moshe.
right. But he's reading the text. He's doing the Targum. It was already there. It was already there. Moshe translated the Torah into 70 languages, right? But these people were ignorant, so he's teaching them everything that they need to know. And one of these things is Pisuk Time. I'm sorry, it's a Pisuk Time. V'amri Leila Maseiros. And some say that this is the Maseiros. Now, Maseiros is the
Moshe wrote the syllabus. Moshe wrote the syllabus, and Ezra's teaching.
Maseiros would be the letters of the text. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak says, Mikra Seifrim, the Iter Seifrim. Mikra Seifrim is the Nakudas, the vocalization of the scribes of what was written. The Iter Seifrim, in the ornamentation, the crown of the scribes. The Kriyan V'Leiksivan, the words that are read but are not written in the text. So sometimes when we read, we have to add in a word that we have in tradition. Uksivan V'Leikaryan, in the words that are written but we don't read them. All of these are Halach L'Moshe Misinai. All of these are a tradition from Moshe. Okay.
Did you say we add in the word?
We do add in sometimes a word. You'll see soon. Mikra Seifrim. What does it mean, the vocalization of the text? Several commentaries here, how to read this. A simple one goes like this. It says, Aretz, we're missing a word. Eretz, Aretz. Shamayim or Shamayim in Mitzrayim. What happens is when you come to an asnachta, or sometimes any pause in the pasuk, an asnachta is a pause, or seif pasuk is a pause, right? A period or a comma. So you change the segel, the S sound, to an A sound. From Eretz, it becomes Aretz. Esa Shemayim ve'esa Aretz. Instead of like Eretz, Zaretz, Zavas Chalav Dvash. That's the beginning of a pasuk. But Esa Shemayim ve'esa Aretz, it's because it's a pause, so it takes on that. And also Shemayim is also different than Shemayim. Depends on which part of the verse it is. If it's at a pause, then it becomes Shemayim. And Mitzrayim as well becomes Mitzrayim.
See, at the end of the pasuk, it says
Mitzrayim. Now, so that would be Mikra Seifrim, which we're saying is Halach L'Moshe Misinai. There's other commentaries here that read it a little different. What they wanted to say is that Shemayim, there's an aleph over there that's missing, but I'm reading it as if it's there. Now, there's two places where this could be. One is Shemai. I'm not reading as Shamim. I'm reading as Shamayim. Right? So there's a missing aleph there. I need like an implied aleph there. That's this. It's not visible, but I have to have it there. And the same as Mitzrayim. I don't say Mitzrim. Mitzrim would just mean the people. Mitzrayim is the place. So I have to have that in there, and that's the mikra seif, and that's the vocalization. Different enter. It also could be the aleph after the shin, shamayim, not shamim, right? Okay, iter seifrim, the ornamentation of the scribes, which means that there's words that are here which we could have understood it if it would not have said that word, but added in for clarity or just to make it nicer. The language should be nicer. So what are these? Achar ta'aveiru. Okay, so the pasuk said, I should get that.
Want to do
Gemara.
it in English?
No, I want to get the. Give me one of the blue Gemaras that Naftali uses. That way I can see the whole pasuk.
Which bus if you're looking for?
Okay. Lamed Zayin, Lamed Beis. Okay. Yeah, this is Avram telling the guests, take bread and then afterwards you'll go. He could have just said take bread and eat and go. Of course it means and afterwards you'll go. Why does it have to say achar tavayru and then you'll go? That then is an added word, but it does add it makes it nicer, but I would have understood the same thing without it. The next pasuk is achar telech. When they came to Besuel and Lavan to take Rivka, Eliezer came. He says, let there stay 10 days, or a year, or 10 days, and afterwards she'll go. Should have said v'telech, and she'll go. And then we understood that it meant afterwards. Or Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to go to battle with Midian, and afterwards he'll pass away. Go to battle with Midian, and then and he'll pass away. That would have been understood. It didn't have to say and then, achar, and afterwards. Kidmus sarim achar noignim. Where's this pasuk? This is in Tillim. The singers went, and then the musicians went, and afterwards the musicians. So I would have understood if the sarim went, then the musicians. That could have been good enough. Sarim went first, and musicians went. That would mean that they went afterwards. So I'd have to say and afterwards. Okay, so it's making it more clear. Tzidkascha kahari kel. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. What am I doing over there? I think it's the chaf. Is like. Didn't have to say is like. Could have said is. And I would have understood that it is like. It's as. What was the word in English? They had this thing, if it was acceptable, to say. Just as equal. Were you allowed to say that? Just as equal in an English sentence.
Supposed to just do it.
It's just as equal, or just as. Both of those mean just, right? If you say just as equal, it means you're saying the same thing twice.
It's like to tell you the truth. No, I really want you to lie.
No, it's like Maya Machreinim Base,
My bus.
right? A complete refuah shalema, right? Yeah, shalema means complete. Okay. Next one, Karyan Vleksivan. What's read, but it's not written. Okay, these are already psukim in Tanakh, where it says, it says the pasuk. It says paras de belechte. The pasuk that talks about that. I think this is David that's going, and it says over the river, and it says nahar. It says nahar, but we add in the word as a kri without a ksiv. We add in the river Pras. Which river? It's Pras. We add that in. It's not in the text. Yeah.
What is all this here for? It's all examples of what Esther did? What Esther taught? What?
Yeah, these are examples of the Messiah, of the tradition that we have. That's not that. But that if we didn't have this oral tradition, then the text would be different. Yeah. Ish the kasher yishal ish bidvar alikim. It says over there. It says the word it is achitaifel. As a man would ask from Hashem, and it adds in the word a man. Boim denivnasa. It says hine yamim boim. Days are coming. and it doesn't say are coming in the text, but we add that in the way we read it. In law de plata, it says al yehi plata, and we add in the word law in the reading. Where is this from? This is in Yirmiyah. The Hugad. Boaz says to her, it was told to me everything that you did for your mother-in-law, he tells to Rus. But the word S is not in the text, but we add it in. We add in the word S. Eli de Hagayren, this is also in Rus. And she says to her, everything that he said to me, everything that you say to me, I will do. This is when Naomi is telling Rus that she should go meet Boaz in the middle of the night. Go down to the granary, to the threshing floor. And Eli da Sairim, that's also in Rus. Says, take these, she said to me, take these to your mother-in-law. Halein Karyan V'lek Sivan. All of these were read, but they're not written. Sivan V'lek Karyan, those that are written but not read, these are Na the Yislach. We don't say this word when we read it. Yislach na Hashem la'avdecha. We just say Yislach Hashem la'avdecha, even though in the text it says it. Zoista ha-mitzvah. There's two places where this possibly is. It's either in Veschanan, and that's what the Ran says. He says, but I don't know where it is. And the commentary that's called Rashi here says that it's in Yirmiyah. In other words, it's the word Zeis that's not read. Yidreich da Dairech. This is also in Yirmiyah. There's a word Yidreich, and the bending of the archer. In Chamish to Pas Negev, the word Chamish, this is in Yecheskel. There's a word there that we don't read. In Im de Chigoyel, this is it back to Rus. There's a lot of this from Rus. This is talking about if he will redeem. By Boaz. Halein Ksivim V'Leikayan. All of these are written, but they're not read. There's one pasuk that's divided into 3 psukim, even though we have it as one. It says, "Vayemer Hashem al Moshe, Hinei Enecha Ba'alecha Ba'avanan." This is like a longer pasuk that in Eretz Yisrael they divide it into 3 psukim. Okay, let's leave it over here.